Hey, what's going on, everybody? Dale Valor here with another MVD exclusive video. Listen, here's the deal, man. You know, I see so many guys asking this question: should I date a single mom? And I see it come up in our group very often on Facebook, dealing with single mothers. There's a lot of things to consider, okay? And so I have a few thoughts on it. We're gonna get into it here in a second. We're gonna go pretty deep on it, but just know, man, there are no, well, rarely, okay? Rarely are there black and white answers where it's like, yes, you should, no, you shouldn't, universally across the board. You know, I think it really depends on a lot of different factors and circumstances when it comes to your life. And so let's get into it. Let's talk about it a little bit. We're going to get into it right now. Let's go. Number one, what does your life look like? Man, look, if you're talking to girls that are single moms, there's so many factors involved when it comes to dating a single mom. There's so many things that you have to consider. A lot of things that guys don't consider is, what does their life look like? Okay, now, follow me on this, okay? Is your life conducive to having a child involved? Now, it depends on what you want from that single mom, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But assuming that you're dating to get into a relationship at some point, does your life have the time, the means, all the things that you need to have a child involved in that? Because if you're going to date a single mom seriously, there's a chance that you may be the father figure in that child's life. Are you ready to commit to that? Are you ready to do that? Because I think that you should, if you're going to be involved on that level. If you're not, that's a different story, and we'll get into that a little bit later too. But if you are dating with the purpose of trying to get into a relationship, you know, hey, look, if you're dating single moms, that comes with the territory. You may have to be the father figure in that relationship. Okay, and if you're not prepared to do that, then maybe, you should probably leave them alone. But here's the deal too. How old are you? Now, look, if you're in your 40s and you're wanting to get into a relationship with a girl in her 30s, now, odds are, just the world we live in, man. You know, the reality is, if you eliminate all single mothers altogether, you know, your dating pool is going to shrink significantly. But that's your call. If that's important to you, if you're like, no, look, I'm not built for that, that's not what I want, okay, cool, I'm with you, and that's great to know that. But know that, hey, there's a lot of single moms out there, man. A lot more than there was 20, 30, 40 years ago, okay? And so if a girl is in her 30s, there's a strong chance that she's going to have kids, okay? Or at least one child. Maybe more, you know? She might have 3 by 4 different dads. That math doesn't add up, but whatever, you get the point. The thing is, look, you have to take into account everything that's going on in your life. And if you can add a child to that life, and you want to do that, and you're prepared and you're ready to go, okay, cool. If you're not, or if you even question it, it's not fair to that child, man. It's really not. And unfortunately, it just is what it is. The child doesn't deserve to have people coming in and out of, you know, that child's life on a consistent basis. He didn't ask who his mom was. He didn't ask for who his dad was going to be. You know, so it's an unfortunate circumstance, but to keep dumping people in and out of this kid's life just really isn't fair, all right? Okay, we're gonna get to number 2. Let's go. Number 2, be upfront, okay? What I mean by that is this. Okay, you're a guy, and, you know, presumably you want to have a relationship. Or if you don't want to have a relationship, that's okay too. If you're just trying to play the field, you're just trying to get out there and have some one-night stands or some short-term relationships or something like that, you know, friends with benefits, something like that. Look, that's cool too, as long as everybody's on board. And that's what I'm driving at here, is to not manipulate a woman who is a single mother into thinking that you're going to be around, that you're going to stick around and potentially help raise that child at some point in time. All right? It's not fair to the child to give the child false hope, you know? And so now, again, if you are of the vein of, hey, look, I'm just trying to have some fun out here, you know, I'm just trying to have some hookups, and it is what it is. Look, if she knows that up front and she's with it, the child will not be a part of that equation. Or I would question her judgment if she does make that child a part of this dynamic, if it's just hookups, okay? So be upfront. Let her know. And you know what? So many guys are afraid to be upfront. And I get it, man. I feel you on that, because that was a huge sticking point, obstacle for me, was to be upfront with what I really wanted, because I was stuck in this mindset that, it's a girl, she wants a relationship. I have to say all the right things to be boyfriendish type material for her to consider me as somebody that, she would sleep with, or, whatever, right? So I was reluctant to give my intentions up front. But what I came to find out when I started doing that was, it really surprised me that how many women were okay with that. Look, I appreciate your honesty. I'm down. Or, I would like to have more at some point in time, but if that's what it is for now, okay, cool, I'm with it. And so I was really surprised to see that. And I'm telling you, if you deal with that, if you're afraid that, women are just going to think you're creepy or some kind of sexual predator because you want hookups, hey, I'm here to tell you that it's not like that. You may randomly run into a girl who's upset about that or whatever, but that's her problem. You are your own individual who wants what they want, and if you can go out there and get it, great, as long as you're up front. All right, we're gonna get number 3. Let's go. Number 3, don't involve yourself with the kids, all right? At least up front, on the onset of this dynamic, whatever it looks like. In particularly, if you're talking about what we talked about in the last point, and it's just a hookup type of thing, friends with benefits, do not involve yourself in that child's life. Wait until something is a little more solid, a little more solidified, if that's the direction that you want to go with it. If you want to have her as your girlfriend and she's up for that and everything's copacetic, that way you're on the same page, okay, fine. Maybe set aside time to start working yourself into that child's life. But outside of that, man, don't try to meet the kid. Don't try to be the kid's dad when you're not. Don't try to give the kid gifts. And please, for God's sakes, don't use the kid as leverage or some type of in. If I'm good to her kid, she's going to realize what a great guy I am and want to sleep with me. Come on, man. That's such a terrible way of going about it. It's just not fair to that child, And you could say I'm coming off soft or whatever you want, man. But I'm telling you, it can affect that child for the rest of its life. And you may not think so, but it can potentially, depending on what happens. And so don't jeopardize that. Don't put yourself in that position of, because of 6 months down the road and you've invested in this kid's life and things aren't working out with you and the mom and blah, blah, blah. What's left for that child? Just another example of somebody up and leaving and abandoning him or her, And so, I don't know, man. I guess I have a soft spot for it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, do not involve yourself in that child's life until the time is right, okay? And by the way, if you've dated a single mother or you're dating a single mother, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what your experience is like, how that's going, good or bad. I'd love to hear the pros and the cons. Maybe you could hit me to something that I could talk about in a future video. Okay, I'd love to have that conversation with you, so drop that in the comments. All right, we're gonna get number 4. Let's go. Hey, listen, guys, wanted to take this quick time out just to remind you. Look, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. We don't want you to miss out on any of the great content, the information that we're putting out there that can be beneficial for you today. Also, share it with somebody that you know needs to see this information. And in addition, man, make sure that you hit the thumbs up. We always like you to comment, all that kind of thing. You know the deal. And in addition to all of that, make sure that you join us September 25th for our live Zoom event. We do one on the last Saturday of every month. It's always a great time. We always go super deep on a topic. And this month, what we're going to be talking about is sexual mastery. All right, how to really get down. You know what I'm saying? So here's the deal. Register for the event and just show up. It's 100% free. You got nothing to lose. It's a great time. Bring some questions with you. We always do a great Q&A session. So look, I'll see you there. Number 4, her priorities. All right. Guys oftentimes feel like that they should come first all the time. When she has a child, that child is going to be her priority, as it should be her priority. That's her child. She is going to have that kid be her child for the rest of both of their lives, okay? You may come or go. You know what I'm saying? You're not necessarily going to be part of that equation, all right? So if she can't drop things, at the drop of a hat to come hang out with you because she doesn't have a babysitter, or, like her kid's got to play that night or something like that, man. Don't be salty that you come second in this. And understand, if you're going to be involved with single mothers, you are going to come second. Okay, like it's just going to be that way, and understand that and accept it. And it's the way that it really should be, to be quite honest. Don't be mad because her kid has things to do and she's involved in that child's life. So don't try to pester her. Don't try to harangue her into hanging out with you instead of spending time with her child. Things like that. Set aside time that you can do every week. So is that it now has became part of a schedule, okay? So maybe on Tuesday nights and Friday nights, is time to hang out with you and her, okay? But every other, if everything's cool one of the other days, all right, fine, okay? But those are your 2 days, and it is what it is, but if things are going on the other days, on the off days, okay, don't be mad. Don't even try to schedule things on those off days. Now she hits you up, hey, listen, my kid's daddy has the kids for 2 weeks. I have more open time. Okay, fine, do what you got to do. But outside of something like that, man, be respectful of the relationship that she has with that child, okay? Because that ultimately is what should come first, and you're just going to have to accept your role until maybe one day, if things progress far enough and you are ultimately a part of that equation forever, if that's what you want, things could change a little bit. But up until then, man, that kid has to come first, all right? So listen, earlier in the video, we talked a little bit about what does your life look like. Now, we did a whole video series on basically constructing your life, how to schedule your life, your finances, how to invest, all the things that we talk about with health, wealth, and relationships. And so what I want you to do is I want you to go to that first video in that video series and check that out, man, because that whole series, we go really, really deep on how to put your life together for it to work for you instead of against you, where you're always trying to play catch up. You're ahead of the game a little bit with this, okay? So go check that out, and I will see you there.